Hey, I'm Lori. I decided to do the van life for a couple of reasons. One was to heal from some pretty traumatic life events, and the other was to find a smaller town to move to and be able to interview small towns as I traveled. Come check out my van. Knowing that I'd be living in here for a very extended amount of time, I wanted to make it feel truly like a tiny home, not like an RV. First thing, this is the primo real estate, so the view. So I wanted to maximize that. I'm a coach, so I spend a lot of time on the phone with my clients, so I wanted to make this my amazing desk, and I wanted to be able to look at these beautiful natural vistas that I am in often. Fixed bed was really important, but mainly I didn't want to come in here and have it feel like an RV or a van. I really wanted to feel like a beautiful little mini tiny home, and I think that's what we've created. This is my sit-down desk, and I love this. It's been an amazing feature, lagoon table. I use it first thing in the morning. It's where I have my latte, do my scripture reading, my studying, and then go off and, have some adventure and come back. And this is where I do most of my client calls if I'm not using the stand-up desk. So just really, really love this. Then when I'm just chilling out, just maybe watching a movie or just reading a book, this is where I often will sit, and it's a nice long area for my legs. So it's multi-purpose. I eat at it, study at it, chill out at it. The only thing I added after the van, and this was about 1.5 years in, I used to stealth out with window covers every night. You'd be putting them up, every morning taking them down, and it just felt like van-ish. So instead I got this headliner shelf. White Top Adventures is the brand. It's awesome. Much less expensive than a lot of brands, but really good quality. And then I can just fling this over. I just got these on Amazon, sewed up the middle, and now it's really kind of feels more like you're in a little tiny home instead of really living in a van. Plus you get a little extra storage up here for shoes or whatever other items you need. So love this. So this is my kitchen, and I love her. Really important piece was that she was big and, relatively for a van, obviously, and that I had the view as I was preparing food. I really wanted to have a lot of counter space, and also the butcher block creates just warmth in the van. So that was important. The sink, I wanted to have it quite a nice size for a couple reasons. Easier to wash dishes, obviously, and also I can wash Tessa in it. She's just a little 11-pounder. And I wanted to have the sink nozzle able to go outside to rinse off dirty feet if you've been at the beach, etc. So that was going to be an important little feature. That's one of the reasons why the sink is right here. Also, the view. I think you spend more time at the sink than you do in any other part of the kitchen, so I wanted it to maximize the view. This was amazing choice. It is an ionizer water filter, and I've even put in non-potable Mexican water, and I warned all the friends I was traveling with, this might be a problem, I'll tell you tomorrow, and it was actually awesome. Got a pop-up counter here. I've played bartender, which has been kind of fun. Got a really excellent fridge freezer scenario that's low volt. I've been out for 2 weeks, and it's plenty of food, plenty of storage. It was perfect for me, really low on energy, and it's just been great. It's a really good choice. I'm super glad I did it. And then, just storage in terms of pantry, everything I need is here. You learn how to just live much more minimally, but I cook great food in this little kitchen. I don't need a ton of appliances. I really only use this Ninja air fryer and my toaster and my Ninja bullet. So those are the 3 appliances I have. A lot of my friends ask me, how is it cooking in this tiny little space coming from the homes that you were used to, which had these big kind of award-winning kitchens and all the chef's things, etc. And actually for me, I enjoy cooking in this little kitchen more than I enjoyed cooking in any of that stuff. I do a lot of prepared salads, but with lots of stuff in them, nuts and seeds and cheeses and sun-dried tomatoes and just a lot of things like that. So the way I designed the kitchen was that everything is super easy access. Top drawer has all those things that I need for chopping, slicing, dicing, etc. It's all super accessible. It's literally from, they say 3-point kitchen. This is like a 1-point kitchen and it's perfection. I love this little area. It's so cute. Bookshelf books. I've always been a big reader, and in real home life, I should say, not real life, but home life, I had a floor to ceiling, huge 1,500 books. Here, it's just tiny, what I'm reading or plan to read, and when I'm done with them, they move on to other people. And then it also, behind the books, there is the interior antenna for my WeBoost system. So what that does is it allows for 1 or 2, sometimes 2 extra bars on your cell service when you're in a little bit of a dodgy spot for service. So it's a WeBoost. It's been great to have. So in order to keep the profile low and not have a big cumbersome shower in the middle of my house, I designed this little transformable bathroom. So when designing this van, I knew, or at least I thought I knew, that I wanted to have an interior shower. I do have an exterior shower, but I thought I wanted an interior one as well. But I didn't want this big high thing. So I designed this, and it's really great, but I've never used it. I've been in the van for 3 years. When it's set up, the shower curtain comes out from these nozzles and you sit in and you have your little shower. But I actually find that I use the external shower all the time. I'm usually out in nature, and I'd way prefer to be out back than kind of rigmaroling with all of this. Now, I'm still glad I did it, because most people in a van, they really do want an internal toilet. So I got a cassette toilet. It's like the best thing you can buy, and I've never put my butt on it. So that's another thing when I was researching for, van life and what do people love and what do people hate. A lot of people are like, I just don't like dealing with the toilet. But I thought, well, I need a toilet. I discovered, I've climbed a lot of mountains. I'm very used to nature. I'm mainly out in nature. Nature was fine. And so I just like the idea of not having this toilet to have to deal with. And so it's become a place for laundry. It's become a place for storage, and it suits me just fine. I don't know, do I regret it? I would say it's a 50-50 call. So I just roll with it because it's here. I use it for something different than I anticipated. And it was a learning experience. A question I get asked often is like, why? Why the van? Why tiny living? And I think for me, my life was always fairly contained. I liked to live below my means. I didn't like a whole lot of extravagance and extra and waste, etc. Then I got married, and I found myself with somebody who was extravagant and a lot of things and multiple homes, etc. When I came out of it, it's like the pendulum had to go way back this way for my soul to heal. That was my reason for moving into a tiny home, as well as I decided to be out of a big city. So I wanted to have something that I could travel. The actual end game is to find a piece of land that I can build on and, really kind of be self-contained. And, with me and a dog, how do you do that? But go tiny and be able to travel around. So those were my reasons, and it served its purpose very well. People want to know about finance. These obviously are expensive machines, so the cost of the equipment aside, your daily experience is fairly similar to being in a home, with a few caveats. One of them, I have no electrical bills. Everything's run off my solar. I have no water bills, really. There's so many places on iOverland. There's a little app you can just show where you can go and just fill up your water tank. And then I do have tenants in my place in Vancouver, so that's obviously income, and I work, so I've got my clients, so I'm earning, but actually what I'm earning, I'm able to save more than living in a home. What I noticed living in a regular home is you shop more. Now I don't do any of that, so shopping's gone down. I wouldn't say anything has gone up. We've all got our gym expenses or entertainment expenses or travel expenses. I mean, obviously this is one big travel expense, but I do less other travel for sure. I used to travel quite a bit in, flying here and flying there. I haven't had one flight. This is my favorite kind of travel. When designing the tiny home, I knew it was going to be really important for me to have a stand-up desk. I do have obviously the sit-down desk, but I'm on client calls a lot of the day, and just sitting, it just wouldn't be a thing. I just knew I love standing up. I'm usually pacing when I'm on with my clients, so this is also why this long hallway, I love to pace. So stand-up desk, 42 inches right to the top of my elbow, made it perfect for my laptop. I'm always taking notes while I'm on with clients, but I didn't really want to look at a wall. So I put the mirror here so that it would reflect out to the view outside. So this is all strategically planned. So I'm just in heaven when I'm doing my calls, looking out, enjoying the view wherever I am. Right below it is my cupboard for my clothes. And then I've literally got a 26-inch closet, and a lot of friends are like, how do you do it in 26 inches? And I asked them, how many of your clothes do you actually use? Apparently women use 10% of our clothes. I don't know about men, but probably similar. With 26 inches, you have to be very intentional. There's nothing in here that I don't love. Now I do have some bins with some, workout things and sweaters and things like that as well. But this, in terms of closet, that's it. One of the things I really love about this van is that it feels not like an RV, and part of it is the artwork. I mean, it's tiny, so there's only a few little pieces, but you don't often have room in a van for some art because a lot of people just deck it out with a whole bunch of storage. So I didn't want that. It was really a blank canvas when I moved in. A lot of wall space to be able to put different things that had it feel really like a home instead of like a van, and I'm really happy with that decision. Well, one of the things in van life, they say we chase the 70s. So hopefully we don't have to use the heating and cooling too much, but it is necessary to have it. So I have a max air fan, which I use a lot, and it pulls the air up so that when you have the windows open, it really does create this beautiful airflow in here. And then really for Tessa, I did go with the air conditioning unit. It's fantastic. It runs off the batteries, which people are always shocked by because they do draw quite a bit of power, but I've got some pretty awesome battery systems. So I use that when I have to run in for groceries and it's 100 degrees and she has to stay in the van. Or there have been a few hikes that I wouldn't have been able to do if, yeah, hi, I love you, if I didn't have the AC. So I was glad to have it. So for heating, I went with the S-Bar diesel heater. It's a great system. It splices right into the diesel tank. So you're not thinking about, oh gosh, I'm using so much power. It's just using your fuel. So it pipes out from underneath the passenger seat and into the cab of the van. It takes about 2 minutes literally to heat this place up. So when I've been at like 0 degrees in Jackson Hole, Wyoming or something, I throw that thing on in the morning and oh, it's like really toasty. It's been great. I love this bedroom. When I go visit friends, they're always like, stay in our guest room. I have tried and I sneak out and I come back into the van because I literally love this. It's like a little cave, but I wanted to have one window so that I could, you know, see out to the view, obviously. So that window, but the rest is no windows at all. It's a 10-inch mattress. It's super, super comfortable foam mattress. I wanted it fixed for a couple of reasons. One, I didn't want to have to hassle with that every morning and every night. The other reason is underneath this bed is a pretty large garage. So that was going to be a super important feature. I love this little feature, this light. It's not attached to the house light. So when you have the inverter on, that's when you can use all your appliances. This is not attached to that. So when you're sleeping at night and you just want to turn it off and go to bed, you don't have to get up and turn off the inverter. Another thing I love about this bed is when I'm backed onto a lake or a river or whatever, I open up both doors and they hinge 270 degrees. That was super important. So they're not just like straight out back, you miss half your view. So I'm up here, room with a view. It's just awesome. Welcome to the garage. Couple pieces about this. This side has all the electrical batteries. And so I went with 300-watt solar panels on the roof, and they charge 400 amp hours of lithium batteries. And then I've got a DC to DC inverter. So when you're driving the van, it's also charging. It's been working great. And then on this side is, you know, some yoga, some exercise equipment. And then this was designed actually for my mountain bike. I gave them the measurements and it was 2 inches too short. So no mountain bike has ever seen this. So that was an unfortunate little thing, but that's okay. We do a lot more hiking and walking, etc. So when planning the build, I wanted to be able to go off grid for at least 2 weeks and not have to worry about power, water, etc. So I went with a large, it's a 32-gallon freshwater tank and 21-gallon gray water. I've got a 4-gallon hot water tank. And so when you're showering, it does blend the hot and the cold. So you can actually have longer showers than that, but not that you do in a van. There's a low flow shower head, which helps you, minimize your water usage. And that's the plumbing system. So people often wonder, like, where do you sleep at night? And with this van, one of the reasons I did it super stealth on the outside. So when I'm somewhere like in a city, I can literally pull over on the side of a cul-de-sac and park. You always go late in, early out, so you're not that guy like parked in front of somebody's house. But I'm mostly out in nature. So when I'm out in somewhere like this. You back up onto the side of a lake, you back up onto a side of a river, you open up your van, and that's another thing people are like, it's so small. How do you live so small in here? Well, for me, it's not anymore. I love it, but it's also where it provides you to be. It's about where the van takes you. Thanks for spending time with me in my tiny home. For those who are interested in coaching, my website is laurieliving.com and the URL is in the description below.